All right, welcome back to investments. We are in chapter 5, clip 3. Let me go ahead and do a little paperwork here, a little record keeping. Clips 1, clip 2, and we are in clip 3. We'll go through the next 5 slides. We'll stop at slide 20. And so let's go on with our investment policy statement. So the manager and the client communicate and exchange information. All right. Let's establish our risk tolerance. Listen, folks, when you talk to clients and you say, let's talk about your portfolio, you know what they want to talk about? Return. They want to grow that portfolio. And that is not the proper order. The proper order is to first establish risk tolerance, okay? How do we establish risk tolerance? Well, we start by looking at the emotional state of the client. What kind of person are we dealing with? Psychographics. Okay. What is the emotional makeup of the client? Is the client a risk seeker or is the client risk averse? Then we look at the client's financial situation. Okay. This includes income, wealth, life insurance. There's a little rule of thumb: 7 to 10 times your life insurance death benefit should be 7 to 10 times annual income. Okay. Cash reserves, at least 6 months of living expenses in a safe, liquid account before you start investing. Okay, their family situation, children that depend on them, older parents that may depend on them. Okay, charitable giving that may depend on them. Okay, other investments and inheritance. So these are the things that play into the financial circumstances. Are both adults in a marriage working? What kind of jobs do they have? How secure are they? All right, then we determine the investment time horizon. So I told you the big 3 are the emotional makeup, the financial circumstances, and then the investment time horizon. When will the money be needed? When will the money be needed? Okay. Are there any near-term goals that you're going to have to liquidate, like a down payment for a house? It's like, no, I'm not going to need this money for 30 years, and then 3 years later they come back to you and say, well, I need $100,000 for down payment. Well, you didn't tell me that, okay? Or are they long-term goals? College education, retirement, estate planning, okay? Educate the client about the riskiness of various asset alternatives. As we looked at before, small cap stocks, large cap stocks, government bonds, corporate bonds, high yield bonds, private equity, hedge funds. What kind of volatility are we looking at? Okay, the general rule is the wealthier a person is, the better education a person is, and the longer the investment time horizon, the higher the risk tolerance should be, which means you can be more aggressive, i.e. more stocks in your portfolio. This is a general rule. Okay? So once again, we'll look at the risk and returns of the various asset classes. Large stocks, 8 to 10%, 22% annual volatility. Small stocks, 9 to 11%, a little bit higher than large stocks, much riskier, 36% annual volatility. Corporate bonds, 5.5%, 8%. You can read. There you go. You can see it. So this, once again, you need to understand what kind of rates of return. When a client says to me, Dr. Sloan, what can I expect to get out of my portfolio? I said, well, you can earn somewhere between 8 and 11% in stocks, and you're going to have somewhere between, say, 20% and 35% annual volatility up and down. Okay, and now today you can't earn 5.5% in bonds. Today you can earn about 2.5% to 3% in bonds. Okay. Still have very low volatility in bonds, but you just can't earn as much right now. All right, this is a very, very important slide. It shows the relationship between asset class returns and time horizon. Okay, so this is a 1-year time horizon. Okay, from 1950 to 2013. The green is stocks, the blue is bonds, and the black is a 50-50 stock bond portfolio. This is for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. Okay? So, the best return for stocks in 1 year, 51%. The worst return, a 37% loss. This shows you the possible range of returns, the volatility. Okay? This is for bonds, and this is 50-50. Okay? Every investor has to decide their ability to trade off return for risk. All right? Now, as you go from 1 year to 5 years, the best 5-year period, 28% a year, with a 2% loss for stocks. Bonds, 23% with a 2% loss. 50-50, 1% gain with a 21% per year rate of return. This is, so there's a, look at how it falls off. So listen, folks, the rule of thumb is, if you need your money within 5 years, then you don't put it in stocks, because you don't want to come back to access that money and have this. The longer you can have your money invested, the smaller, the narrower the range of returns is, okay? And the more likely you are to hit your average rate of return. So over a 20-year period of time, best rate of return, 18% a year. Worst rate of return, 6% a year in stocks. Over a 20-year rolling period, 12% and 1% for bonds, and 14% and 5% for 50-50. So 50-50 looks pretty darn good. Okay? So over a longer period of time, you want to be in stocks. But over a shorter period of time, you want to start to balance out your portfolio. Okay? All right. Okay, so this table shows you the probability of receiving or earning a certain return. Okay, so what this shows you is that the probability of earning an 8% average rate of return in the Dow Jones in stocks or the S&P 500, okay, over a 1 year period of time, 60% chance of earning 8%. 51% chance of earning 12%. Then you want to hit 100% rate of return, 100% probability of making 8% a year, you have to be invested for 15 years. 10%, you have to be invested for 20 years. And again, at least 10 years to make it kind of worth your while. Same thing with the S&P 500. So the higher the rate of return that you want to earn, the longer you have to be invested in order to make your rate of return. And the higher this goes, at some point, you have a 0% chance over time of earning that rate of return. So you can start to see the relationship between time and the probability of earning an annual rate of return. And this is important information that the vast majority of clients do not understand. All right, let's see how far we're supposed to run with this. Clip 2 is through slide 20, so we're finished with that. So let's go ahead and take a break. Shalom.